BWOne here from BWOne. In this video, I'm going to give you differences between the Microsoft BWOne and the Microsoft BWOne. So I've been using the BWOne for quite a bit ever since it came out. I've been using it sort of as my daily sort of fitness tracker and such, and I've really liked it. But since I've gotten the BWOne, I've been using that now for the last few days, and definitely gonna give you my review on it later in the week here. But I think I've done enough here with it to show you the differences between the BWOne and BWOne. And if you're deciding which one to get, because the BWOne is still available at a cheaper price, it's been dropping down in price. I think I've seen as low as $99 in some places. You might be considering this over the BWOne. But let's take a look at the differences between them. So the first thing you notice here is the design themselves. So you could see pretty much they look similar, but they're not. You can see where Microsoft has definitely made improvements from the BWOne to the BWOne in terms of design. The BWOne has a much more industrial design, sort of a blocky rectangular shape on it. Doesn't have much of a bend on here, so I'll unlock it here. You can see can't bend it too much. Doesn't give you a lot in terms of it being comfortable on the wrist and such. Some people complained about that. It's something you definitely notice on there because it has such a blocky feel without too much give on it, especially with these sort of hinges here in the center like that. It just kind of gives it a very weird feel. And it's mostly sort of a plastic build. Has this weird soft kind of rubber coating on the outside of it here, and such there with a little bit of a metal wrist strap right down there. But that's basically what the BWOne sort of design here is. You can see early sort of prototype, almost prototype look with it. Now on the BWOne, you can see they've corrected a lot of things. You have now sort of a metal and glass sort of build quality with a much more flexible sort of a wrist strap on here. It has sort of the same feel, sort of that rubber feel here from the BWOne, but it's much more flexible, easier to kind of get a nice comfortable sort of hold onto your wrist here. It kind of conforms a little bit better because it's curved a little bit better with it versus it being sort of this flat sort of rectangular shape. You can see that there's a curve. You can take a look at the differences right there between the two of them in terms of the design here. Now also what's also uniquely different here on the bottom is the lock straps as well too, where the lock mechanism is. Now the lock mechanism on here on the BWOne, it's okay, but when I originally had this, my first one, it actually broke on me and I actually ended up having to go get it replaced. And it's always something you kind of play around with throughout the day because it's kind of hard to adjust it to get the right comfortable fit here with it. But nevertheless, it's there. And also, what's also here as well too is where your sensor is for your heart rate sensor. It's right here at the bottom, as well on the BWOne here, right where the slide mechanism is, right above that. Then you have your charging port right here in the center of the band itself, which can be a little awkward sometimes because when you kind of plug it in, if you have to kind of plug it in and have it up here at the top, whichever way you kind of plug it in. But if you don't have it that way, it's going to sort of rock around on you there. So you're going to make sure you kind of have to have it a certain way. All right, that's the BWOne. We'll lock that back up. Now on the BWOne, that has the same similar metal sort of wrist strap lock here with it, but it's much easier to use, I would say, and you get a much better fit in terms of how you want it to feel on your wrist and get a much more comfortable feel with it. Now on the bottom here, instead of the center, is actually where the charger is. So now the charger's moved down to here, which is nice because I think this is a little bit easier in terms of if you kind of want to just lay it out somewhere or you want to curl it up somewhere. The charger's in a good place where it doesn't sort of lean or lump around or gives it sort of an awkward look here. And now the sensor for your heart rate is now here in the center of the actual unit instead of being on the bottom here. I actually think this is a better position for it, to be honest with you. I kind of like it that it's up there. But you can see that, a couple of differences there. Also, what you look at here is the displays are also different as well too. You can clearly notice that kind of off the bat. Now on the BWOne, you have sort of a standard TFT LCD display. It's pretty decent. I mean, it worked well for the most part. You could see what you needed to see on it. The colors look pretty decent on there. They look pretty good. I always change these around depending on what shirt I was wearing. Sometimes, I know corny at work, but it would just it was just a nice little extra way to do it. And the colors match and look pretty well with the different designs that you sort of can choose here in the front and such. And navigation's pretty easy, kind of to swipe through. Now on the Band 2, you have an AMOLED display, a curved AMOLED display, which is much nicer. The colors look a lot brighter on it. The navigation is actually a lot more smoother now with that curved display. Feels pretty good, and this overall looks just a whole lot nicer in general. I mean, I can't really knock, TFT versus AMOLED. AMOLED's just gonna look better in most cases, and it just really does look like a nicer display overall. And it's a little bit wider, you can tell, than the on the Band 1. The Band 1's a little bit longer, but on the Band 2, it's a little bit wider on the display, so you can just see more on it. Kind of gives you an extra line for extra information on it here. And you'll notice that when you go through the workouts. I'll show that definitely in my review. You can see that you get more information on the display, and it makes better use of it without you having to dig through the menus too much. All right, there. Another thing that they have differences here is sensors. Now, the Microsoft Band here the Band 1 has 10 sensors in it, and the Band 2 has the same 10 sensors, but it actually has 11 because it has one extra barometer to help with elevation. So one of the things that takes advantage of here is it actually can count your steps. And not count your steps, but count your floors, so it can tell how many floors you're going up to. And I've only took up 2 floors because I don't really have to go that very high in the building that I'm in. In most cases, I'm usually taking an elevator, because usually where I'm ever going, it's like 24 or 25 floors up, and I don't really want to walk that just yet. But you get the idea there. So there's a little bit of an extra sensor here, which makes it pretty cool to have. But overall, that's pretty much the 2 main differences here between the Band 1 and Band 2. At the Band 2, you're getting, I think, a nicer, more refined design, the curved display, and just a better fit and finish, honestly, with the Band 2 here. This is going to fit and feel a whole lot better on your wrist than the Band 1 is, but the Band 1 is still pretty good if you want a good fitness tracker and you don't want to spend a whole lot of money, because this is a $249 price point. If you're looking to save some money, the Band 1 is still a pretty good buy. It gives you pretty much everything except for pretty much the one extra sensor that's inside the Band 2 inside of here. But between the 2 of them, they have very similar battery life, although I'm getting a little bit better battery life so far with the Band 2. It's going a little bit further than 2 days, but I'm gonna put a little bit more test to that before I can really finally say that it has that much better battery inside of it. But that's pretty much the difference between the Band 1 and Band 2. I would suggest if you're looking to get a brand new band, you really want the best, the Band 2 is obviously going to be the one to go with here. But if you're looking to save some money, the Band 1 is still a pretty good option to save a little dough and get a lot of great features with it. Because like I said, I've seen this for as low as about $99 in a few places, and it's a pretty good price for what this offers here. This is $249, obviously paying a little more premium for it, but it is a nicer device overall. So that is the difference between the Band 1 and Band 2. Post your questions, comments, and concerns below. Let me know what you guys think. If I missed anything, let me know in the comment section below. If you like this video, be sure to give it a thumbs up. It definitely helps us out. Be sure to subscribe to our YouTube page. Connect with us on all our social networks. The links to those in the description. And also answer this question. Which one would you get? Would you get the Band 1 or the Band 2? Depending upon what you're looking for. Post your comments below. Let me know what you think. And always remember to live your tech world in high definition. Thanks for watching.